Hello and welcome to Division 4B's recap, the Stinkcast with my friend is, here my friend is Sir Kodiak. How are you today, Sir Kodiak?
I'm doing good. It's good to be here.
How was your week?
Week was good. It was a little boring actually. I played the division like the last place person who had 5 losses going into my match and came out of it with 6 losses. They basically gave up after the first quarter and just kind of like puttered around. I slowly put in a 1-0 win, so not the most exciting match, but nice to have a win, I guess.
Yeah, you still gotta get it done, right?
Yeah.
Well, my week was very exciting.
Yes.
Probably the most exciting game I've played in a long time in Dot Bowl, maybe ever. I, I I know it doesn't sound like much because it was only a 1-0 win, but I have a strange Nurgle team that is not so much focused on killing and more focused on playing. So I
Yeah.
played my arch rival 130 and managed to win without any casualties inflicted. So it was a very interesting match, and I'm very happy about it. Uh,
Nice.
so
And
yeah,
yeah, anyone who isn't familiar with your team should take a look at it. There's some very very interesting pestigores on that team.
yeah. Basically, my leap, Rackle Pestigor, Dr. Okison, he is the heart of the team, and this match it showed 130 played what I believe it was a flawless match. I don't think he made any mistakes whatsoever. It's just it's just that it is very hard to play against a goat like that. So so yeah, it was very very exciting. Anyway, let's get started with our recap. So, week 6, and there was quite a few surprises for us too. So let's get started. Our
Particularly for me, as it turns out.
so first match we got the Leaping Lizards versus the Murdery Space Elf Troop. Motley just keeps going and going. Eh?
Yeah. Yeah. He's killing it.
Yeah. And next time I fight someone that says, "Oh, look, my team is done. Too many deaths. No interesting players," I'll just say, "Go to season 11 and watch what Motley did, because that's amazing." He had probably the most destroyed team in the whole division, and now he's first place and a very serious contender for the playoffs spot.
Yeah. And your point about like no like great players is really something like you sometimes see elf teams where it's like sure they don't have a lot of pieces, but they have like 3-4 like unbelievable star players that can
Right.
do anything, and he doesn't even have that. It's just like he's got some good pieces, but nothing amazing, and not that many of them.
Right.
And just putting in win after win.
In the end, yeah, he doesn't even build tall. He just makes good use of inducements. He makes good use of some fundamental skills. Everybody likes shiny skills or shiny setups, but if you get the basic block, dodge, sidestep on an elf team, you can do a lot of stuff. And so yeah, absolutely, a great win, Motley. I'm very eager to see what you do with this. You're becoming my favorite player here, like the underdog that came from under and started beating everyone with half a team. I just love it. A great underdog story.
Yeah.
Anything about the match you want to comment?
So I didn't watch this one. The thing that jumps out at me in the stats is how many more blocks the Dark Elves got to take. That suggests that the positioning game went their way at some point.
Yes, I didn't watch it live. I watched the replay. It was very one-sided, mainly because one of the interesting things about this elf team is that it's very cheap. So these rats that are usually used to getting a wizard and some sort of an advantage to get the ball loose, they didn't have it, and that obviously makes it harder for them. In this case, the rats were forced to try to penetrate a wall of blood sidestep elves, and that's not really that easy with strength 2 gutter runners. So yeah, let's move on. Then we have game 2, Legendary Wordsmith versus Hella's Kitchen. We both predicted a win from Legendary Wordsmith, and that's what happened. Their team is extremely annoying. I don't, even though it was only 1-0, I watched that match yesterday, and I never saw Space Lion in a position to really fight it properly. I don't know. What did you see?
I would agree with that. That this was the Dark Elves had control for a lot of this match.
Yes.
It was, yeah,
Yeah.
tough match for.
Yeah, at some point you'd see in the Norse drive, the elves had the ball and had two tiers of screens between the ball and the Norse team. It was really one-sided in that regard. And so yeah, aside from that, not a bit. Basically, what you expect from Dark Elves, lots of good screening and being annoying.
Yeah.
Then we got game 3, Donkeys and Elephants versus the Butcher's Block, and I think this match proves that the caster's curse is real. As long as I go for Sedora, he loses, or at least has a tough match. Now that I abandoned him, he won easily, so that should tell me something. So, were you able to see this match?
Yes, I watched a replay of this match, and this was bloody. I think it was turn 14. After that, there was no more Butcher's Block pieces on the field, and there weren't that many on the field for the entire second half. It was just so many removals by Shidora.
That shows you his talent to maximize blocks, because his team is not exactly a team that you'd say, oh, this team is going to pitch clear everyone. No, not at all. Only one Claw Mighty Blow. Excuse me, two Claw Mighty Blows, but in general, not a team like the Butcher's Block, for instance, that you say, oh yes, his team can easily pitch clear another team. But at the end of the day, good positioning and being able to maximize your blocks, it goes a long way into getting your removals, not only stacking kill skills. Okay, let's move on then. Then we got Arequipa Nurglers versus Careless Coders. What do you think about this one?
I was disappointed in this result. I felt like there was the possibility of this going the other way. I think this was a well played match for the most part by both coaches. I think there was sort of a critical play in the second half where Keasubalu let the cage have a little bit too little protection in it while too near the beast, and the beast ended up inside the cage.
Yes.
After like a blitz opened it up and just totally changed the whole dynamic of that drive and turned things around. And that was basically like, I think there was just one really critical turn where an opportunity was left open. Lewis saw it, took it, it worked out.
Yeah, I agree. The beast can be brutal against teams like Underworld if you manage to put it in the right spot, and this is what happened in this match. Also, another thing that happened in this match, and it's quite clear when you look at the stat sheet you made, is sometimes Underworld implode because they are a glass cannon.
Yeah.
They can hit hard, but they can also get hit hard. Most of the team was removed through injuries, and that should tell you something about the match. And so good win by Luis Jano. He's also somewhat unstoppable. It will be interesting. Has he played against Motley yet?
That's an interesting question. I'm not sure.
I don't remember, but I'm not sure. Let's check the thing real quick. Oh yeah, Motley beat him last week. So yeah.
Oh yes, of course.
Yeah. So.
So that's a good sign. Yes, he's about to play the other Dark Elf team. We'll see that in our preview section.
Yeah, Sean Fuller is going to be a very interesting match indeed. Well, in any way, let's move on. Then we got game 5, Skirgle versus the Greenskin God Splitters. Squid 5 brought back his magic. He always manages to surprise us. Huh? I told you this coach was going to be interesting. Not a big contender for the playoff spot, but fun and surprising coach indeed.
Yeah.
Well, he did what he does often. He did this to me last season. He got the halfling chef.
I never think of it. I never think of doing the halfling chef.
No, it's so expensive. It's
Yeah.
300, so nobody gets it except halflings and Squid 5. And of course, Nuffle rewards the bold, and just like it was against with my match last season, this season, he took all Skirgle's rerolls, every single one of them in the important drive that was the Nurgle's offensive drive. So stop them in their tracks, and it was brutal. Well, that's the gamble of the halfling chef.
Yeah.
I still think it's a shit inducement for 300. You can get something better, but
Right.
he made it work, so I can't really complain a lot.
And yeah, and he got the result he wanted, right? Like he removed 3 over the course of the match, which is like the average, but it was all in the first half. So he was able to just like take over that drive. He was able to do some damage to the Pestigores, get some of those off the field.
Exactly.
It turned out really well for him.
Yeah. So something to consider. Maybe when one gets like a shitload of inducements, maybe consider the halfling chef. It can surprise you.
Yeah.
Then we got the Sun Eaters versus Crypt Lords. Yet again, Crypt Lords with their almost inexistent team managed to surprise us again. He's very resilient coach. He still has to get his win, but he managed to take a draw against a team that seemed superior, at least player-wise. What's your opinion on it?
Yeah, that this I think he's making this team actually able to do stuff, particularly with Polygon. Like, just did not have much on the field that was that exciting, and still was able to pull off the draw. Like that shows some talent. I do like that. So this is our 2 like last place teams in the division right now. I do like they both still have 3 draws. Like, there's divisions where you look at the last place team and it's just 6 losses.
Yes.
Everybody in the division is at least getting something done.
Yes. Which has managed to make our predictions quite shitty.
Yeah. Well, yes, that's true.
Because the talent-wise and team-wise, there is some balance. It was a very well-made division. So props to Metal and Iron Sword on that. Yeah. So okay, and then last but not least, we got My Dixie Wrecked versus Wrath of Nuffle. And here, well, I'm not that surprised. I think this is basically what you should expect from 2 teams that have very strong offense but not very strong defense. They win their respective drives and 1-1 draw. Other than that, I don't know if you have anything to add.
No, I didn't catch this one. So it's I don't really. I don't have much of an opinion. I think you basically described it right. It looks like 2 teams that were able to score but not do anything to the other side.
Right.
MVP on Helmet Wolf is always disappointing.
Yes. Well, at least he didn't kill himself.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go to predictions sheet, and I caught you.
Yeah. Awful week.
I shouldn't be too proud. If you see, we both have 21 out of 42. So basically, coin is as smart as us.
Yeah.
But well, let's hope during the next 7 matches we manage to beat the flipping of a coin. That should be a minor achievement.
Yes.
But
and there's something to be said for halfway through the season. Now we know what everybody looks like. Things are reset. We'll see how we can each do in the second half of things.
Right. But so far we're just as good as random.
Yeah.
Okay, and then we got. Let's go to the predictions. So, day 7. For our first match, we got Donkeys and Elephants versus Murderous Space Elf Troop. What do you see for this one?
I think the Dark Elves keep rolling forwards. They've been having a good run. Motley clearly knows what he's doing. I think he's able to win this match. Donkey Seed Elements is kind of beat up. We saw that from a couple matches ago. And we have the Tackle Killer is going to be out, which is something that could cause problems for huge. The Dark Elves. So I think the Dark Elves had the advantage here.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I've probably gone with Shadora if Drum was in this match, but it isn't. The Chaos team made a huge favor for. The Nurgle team made a huge favor for these elves because a Mighty Blow Claw tackle piece is absolutely excellent against elves, especially a team like Motley's that basically plays around the strength of Blotch. And now Shadora will find himself in that shitty position where you have to choose between blitzing with Claw Mighty Blow or blitzing with Tackle. Because you can't have both. That's the main reason why I go with the Dark Elves. Also, how are they inducement wise?
They're within like 10 of each other. It depends on what the level ups are. They each have one that hasn't been selected, but they're very close, which means that Shadora, for having a beat up team, isn't going to get much out of that because
and also having
it's such an efficient Dark Elf team.
Yeah, and having a beat up team, he probably wants to save to rebuild and doesn't want to waste coming stuff. So it's a very high chance that neither of these teams takes anything, not even a bait. I think it's looking promising for Motley. Which means maybe Shadora wins because I'm cursing him again.
Yeah, maybe.
And then we got Arequipa Nurglers versus Legendary Wordsmith. Probably the match of the week. This match is going to be a great match. I really don't want to miss it. What do you see for this one?
So I am predicting Legendary Wordsmith wins this. We've seen that Louis Jano's one loss this season was to Elves. That said, since that match, he's had some notable. There's like some improvement. One, you got to play that match and maybe see where he made some mistakes, and improve. Also, the Beast now has that stand firm. And in the last Dark Elf match, it was really powerful that the Beast just kept being shoved off of people with uphills. That's not going to be as easy. So I think there's a chance that he improves on his performance and is able to win this. But I'm still saying the Dark Elves.
That's a good prediction. I'm going to go with the tie. I honestly see either of the three results happening and won't really be surprising. I can see the elves outmaneuvering the Nurgle. I can see the Nurgle out removing the elves, and I can see both of them winning their respective drives and just hanging out a 1-1 draw, which is what I probably expect to happen this match. I'm going to go with the tie, but in either case, it's a promising match, and I hope the coaches can let us know when they play because I really want to see it.
Yeah.
Okay, then we got Skurgle versus Leaping Lizards. Both teams come to this match licking their wounds. But one thing.
Oh, actually, I'd like to say something about the previous match.
Yes, of course.
Just interrupt, and particularly the previous pair where we have two Dark Elf teams, both going up against somewhat bashy teams. The Legendary Wordsmith more so. The week after this one, those Dark Elf teams are facing off against each other. So that's going to be another thing to watch for in both of those matches is what kind of damage do they take, because it could then affect possibly the top two teams when they play off against each other.
Right. Very, very interesting observation. Also, I have to say, I think I'm rooting against the team that has less team value, that takes maybe more damage, because a wizard in an elf off is invaluable.
True.
So yeah, I'm not. But that will be our next week's discussion when we see it. But
yes. Yeah.
So I'll just move on before I get stuck. So, Skurgle versus Leaping Lizards, and yet again we have a match where one of the teams has a very, very painful removal for the match.
Yeah.
The Leaping Lizards would really want to have their killer Storm Vermin against Nurgle, and they don't. So it's looking rough. What do you see for this?
Yeah, so I see Skirgle. I have Skirgle winning this. I think they're going to be able to get some removals on the Skaven. I think 550 is like too much in inducements that I think Gazgul is going to start running out of really valuable things to get. Like you're going to get the Wizard, you're probably going to get extra Apo. You then still have 300 more to spend.
Yes.
And maybe you get like Glard or something, but I don't think it makes up for just like the fact that you don't have as much of a team.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Inducements have diminishing returns, like how they say. The first 150 is great. The Wizard is probably more valuable than any 150 player. But after that, it becomes less and less useful. And once you go past the 300, 400 range, you are probably getting outmatched by a lot. And this is what we see in this game. Maybe try the halfling chef. It went well for the squid fight.
Yeah.
But it's a hard match. The fact that the lizards don't have a reliable blitz to get some removals is going to hurt them. The fact that they don't have agility 5 or 2 heads. Well, they have one 2-headed guard runner, but it's not agility 5, so it will still have trouble picking up the ball in tackle zones. Doesn't give them a really reliable wizard, because that's the second part of the wizard. The wizard knocks off the ball, but then you have to retrieve it, usually in tackle zones. So there's where the agility 5 or agility 6 comes into play, and lets you get the ball away before it becomes really hard to take advantage of the wizard. And I don't see the living lizards having that either, so it's looking rough.
I'd agree.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm going with the Squirgle as well. Then we got Sun Eaters versus Hell's Kitchen. What do you have to say for this one?
So I am going to predict Hello's Kitchen here. Spaceline's been having kind of a rough season. But I think this is a match where he can perform. I think he's going to be happy that ghoul... I mean, it's technically MMG, the Ballhawk ghoul. I assume that's actually a dead ghoul. And in fact, I assume for this that they'll probably be replacing it, since they have all that cash. But I think this is the sort of game that Spaceline knows how to win. I think he can win this. And so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, I'm going with his Spaceline as well. I think Undead is a prime target for Norse because of the fragility of the ghouls especially, and he has a tackle berserker, mighty blow. So it's hard. That said, I'm not sure I would replace the ghoul. Maybe hold off a match because ghouls are not that great against Norse. So maybe,
yes, that's fair.
Maybe you want some meat in there. Maybe I prefer having 2 zombies instead of a ghoul, or maybe I prefer having the inducement stuff to do something interesting with. But he has 220 in cash, so I'll take a couple of zombies and get some fodder, because Norse can snowball really hard on you if you don't have the place to support the hard punches they give out. So. I don't think that's
actually a good point. That actually makes a lot of sense, because having something that can like stand in the way of the Rezo comes screaming at you,
yes,
with that claw and mighty blow to kill your pieces might actually be nice.
Yes,
like just a cheap guy who has regen, who can just keep people around. Yeah. And finally, the berserkers are coming online. Like that's what we've been waiting for all season. I feel with this team is the berserkers to have like actual skills. So again, you want something that'll take that damage.
Yes, also the team is looking really nice guard-wise, which is very important for Norse. When you want to snowball, getting your guard so you can take all your blocks without getting frenzy trapped. He has more guard than the undead team, so it's looking really nice. I think it goes into Hell's Kitchen favor, but that said, I still think Sun Eaters have a chance. And if you want to have a chance, you have to buy the meat to be able to compete against these Norse. Okay, then we got Game 5. My Dixie Wreck versus Butcher's Block. Okay.
I'm really curious to see this one actually.
Yeah.
That you have this like chaos team with only one guard on it, and you have this human team with all this guard, but obviously nowhere near as much strength, and that can make for an interesting like positioning game there, of like who's able to bring their strength like to the forefront.
Yes.
It's gonna be, I think, a real test of the coaches.
Yes. This human team has really, if you see all the skills they have basically prepared to play against Bash. Mostly. They have guard, they have dauntless, they have a lot of speed, which is useful against Bash teams, but not a lot of agility. So it looks like Archie Bunkers may be used to playing against a lot of Bash and started making the team that way. On the right hands, I think this human team is very, very favored, because if you know how to position and put your guard properly, it can be very useful against a chaos team that only has one guard. That said, I'm talking about a very high level of positioning, probably a lot better than I can make. If I take this human team, I get my ass kicked. But if you give this to a one coach, I think they can make a lot of it. So it's a challenge for Archie Bunker to see what he can do with it. All I know is the following: if you play the Blitz game, you're gonna lose, because that Mighty Blow, Claw Pump, New York Strip Chaos Warrior is going to just chew all over your team. So humans are going to have to play smart, know when to base with their guard, know when to outrun the other players with their speed. You can't just stand there and wait to take your blitz and then wait for them to take their blitz, because you're going to lose that game. Other than that, I think I go for the Butcher's Block, but it's not an easy one.
I don't think I ever actually said what my prediction was. I'm predicting a tie here.
Yeah.
That I think Dixie's going to be able to get like at least a touchdown, just given their speed, but that will probably take a lot of damage.
Yeah, I can see that happen. Definitely. Yeah, I can see a tie, but I'm going to go with the Butcher's Block anyway.
Okay.
Then we got Wrath of Nuffle versus Careless Coders. How are their TVs? Slightly higher for the Chaos. Okay, what do you see for this one?
So I do like this TV difference for Chaos Subaru, right? It's like 120, you have the 30, so you're going to get the Wizard. Like, that's like a nice place for them.
Yes.
I have this as a tie. I think that Chaos Subaru is going to be able to score. I think that she's also been having some struggles with winning games. I partly just look at the fact that we have the team on the left has 4 ties so far this season. The team on the right has 3. That's a lot of ties. I think they'll figure out a way to do it again.
Okay. The first thing is, I think both coaches are very talented. I've been very impressed with their play during the season.
I'm not putting either of them down. I want to be clear about that.
Yeah. It's a hard one. I hadn't thought about this one. I think I skipped it when I checked the predictions, and I don't want to say tie, because I don't think it's going to be a tie. I really don't. But that said, I'm not sure which of them is going to win, because I just see too much damage on one side and too much bullshit on the other. I think one of these teams is going to snowball, but I'm not sure which one. Especially with Chaos Subaru having the Wizard. I can see him, her, or is it a her? Her, yeah, I can see her, putting a nice bolt in there, stealing the ball with the Goblin, scoring on the Chaos drive. I can see that. Yeah, I can see that. On the other side, I can see Wrath of Nuffle taking 4 LOS blocks and killing 4 goblins, and then the game is over, basically, So, I'm going to go with Careless Coders, just to name one, but because I don't think it's going to be a tie, but it could easily be Colin as well. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Careless Coders. That said, if I could choose, I could choose a non-tie. You know.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. And last, we got Crypt Lords versus Greenskin God Splitters.
Yeah, this is our rematch of the week, though from some time ago. These are both 3-season-old teams.
Yeah.
And they in their rookie season they were together, and their Necro won, but I don't know how predicative that is. A game that was like 30 matches ago.
Yeah, I suspect this Necro team was looking very different.
Very different. Yes. Yeah. So I like the Greenskin Gut Splitters here. I think their team's in just better health. I think that they're going to be able to just like body up the Necro team, control the match, get their win. I like them this one, and they're even getting like 100 in inducements, despite having I think a team that I like the look of better.
Yeah, I like the Gut Splitters better as well. Also, if you see Squid 5 is on a rising. If you see the graph, that nice graph you made, yeah, they're on the rising track. They're surprising us every week. So maybe this time I'll trust on Squid 5 to keep his forward ascendment. And also the 100 cash is great. I'd probably take a bribe and just foul the shit of the other team.
Absolutely. If Paulie hits the ground anywhere near you with that niggling injury, you're gonna follow with anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're just gonna absolutely try to get that piece off the field, or Cabin Boy Tom probably.
Yeah, and there are other things to take into consideration that also go in favor of Squid 5. For example, the Necro team has no sure hands, and Squid 5 has Street Ball, so the Werewolf won't be able to be very comfortable around, at least near that Blitzer. He will have to take his distance. It's going to be a hard match for the Necro. That said, we always predict the Necro to lose, and they don't. So
yeah.
So maybe this time it will be that thing again. But if I have to predict this one, I'll go with the Orcs. And I think that's that for the week. I wanted to do an extra segment, but sadly because we had to record earlier, I wasn't able to do it. Hopefully next week we are able to surprise you all with a new segment in this recap.
I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah, anything else you want to say before we go, Sir Kodiak?
No, just good luck to everybody, and we're going to be moving through. This is, I think, there'll be the halfway point of the season. So it's been fun so far. I'm looking forward to the second half.
Yeah, me too. Oh, maybe we could do one last thing. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Maybe
sure.
I was thinking about what you said. Let's have a look at the leaderboard.
Sounds good.
Maybe make a slight cut, or where do you think you say the fight for the playoff spot is as you see this leaderboard?
So looking at this, I mean, we have three teams that are like definitely in it, right? The two Dark Elves and Louis Jono's Arequipa Nurglers are really killing it, and I could see any of them taking like the main playoff spot. And after that, it gets like kind of tough for everybody else, right? Yes. Like you need to start seeing one of those teams fail. Mm-hmm. The Dark Elf teams, they could start taking damage, but frankly, we've seen that Dark Elves can play pretty well, even with less stuff.
Yes.
It's really tough for me below that 3 line. I think you keep trying to win there, and not least just because you also want to maybe like get to Div 3 next season.
Yes.
All else aside, but I think people are starting to look at, we need one of these guys to start losing games up at the top. How about yourself?
Yeah, I'd probably put the cut around 5th place. I think Shadora is probably the last one to really be in it. If the results keep happening as they have happened until now, because of course we haven't even reached the half of the season. In a 13 match, we're only 6. But that said, I think the serious contention for the first place is probably from the 5th place onward, and maybe how many CP Cup spots do we have here? 2, I think.
So the number 2 spot definitely goes, and then there are it's like 10. There are 10, I think, Div 4 teams, and there's like 8 spots that are split amongst like the best number 3 teams, right? So if you're the number 3 spot in a Div 4 division, you probably go to the secondary cup, but maybe not. It depends on what your actual record is.
Okay. I think probably from. No, the rest of the teams are still in contention, because if you can reach third place, that can still be fought out.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
it's too early to call the CP Cup contention, but for the main playoff, I think if you are under the 5th place, it's probably not looking so hot right now.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so that's the recap for the week, and I hope to see you all next week. Hope you get your matches early so we can get the recap early, and good luck to you all. See you, man. Thanks for coming.
Yep.